Ready yet? That was the preparing for them.
Okay, test.
We worked this out in dress rehearsal, didn't we?
I missed that. And why didn't you do what you're supposed to do?
We're not. All right. How should we start?
With announcements.
Announcements, right? All right. So I'm going to start with announcements. So good morning. Welcome to Northboro's best Unitarian Universalist church. We strive to be a place that's a beacon of truth and light to the broader hills and Worcester area here. Huh? We don't speak to the Vales. We used to. No longer. Just the hills. We at First Parish work to blend reason and freedom. With depth and community, we invite old and new to have our seat in our moderately comfortable but classic pews. Relax, take a deep breath, settle in. We are glad you are here today. We have coffee and fellowship after the service. We have a few announcements too. We're always seeking Zoom hosts. You want to add anything to that? Yell about that, Chris. Yeah. In fact, grab the microphone and so you can play Donahue to whoever else has an announcement.
Yes, okay. So I just wanted to announce to everybody, including everybody on Zoom, we really need Zoom hosts. Even the people in the Vales, we need Zoom hosts. It's something that's important. It's hard to do to arrange the service if we don't have one. We're scrambling at the last minute. At this point, we don't have anybody for this month. You had more to add, Ann.
Just that it's not as difficult as it sounds. It's almost like watching a video online. So it sounds like a big deal, but it's not that difficult.
For those on Zoom, it's not a big deal.
There we go.
It's easy to do. Anyone can do it, but we really, really need people, and we really need people to get in touch with. Is it Linda, the one to get in touch with, or anybody on the worship team? Me, Ann Morrissey, Ann Leno. Who am I forgetting? Steve?
Yeah.
And let him know too. We Zoom host.
Okay.
Please.
Thank you, Chris. We're also doing a Transcendentalist tour after church. We're going to leave about 12:15 after we have a little coffee. We're going to stop at 4 different spots. We're not going to go in anywhere. It's going to be a 10-15 minute stop each place, and then we're going to go to the Colonial Inn and have a bite to eat. So anyone who wants to carpool, there's directions. And I gave them to someone who, there we are. If you have directions, if you're going to go and you don't have directions and addresses, there we are. Okay, we have our open mic night coming up on Friday, I believe, correct? This Friday? First Friday, right? And obviously lots of other things. We have on that second Saturday morning, we're going to have the theology discussion group. We're not going to do it after my second service. I think it will be better if we have just coffee and we have a moment exclusively rather than attaching it to church. So second Saturdays, great time to come to church. I'll have coffee, bagels. We'll have a nice theological discussion. We'll tap on UU history issues, learn something here and there. We'll do a little meditation. Nice time to gather. Okay, I want you to pause for a moment and think about how bad that cell phone signal was here when our founders were building this place after the fire back a couple generations ago. And in tribute to that work, I invite you to turn them down to silent or the sacred mode if you would. And when you're done with that, give a little just hello to your friends and a little greet your neighbor. So, good chance to greet your neighbor. Here we are. All right, good. Cute. I love those Bach pieces. They're great. Chris is going to light our chalice while I read these words from Maureen Killeran. In these hard times, let us look first to the response of love. Like we think about this in terms of the upcoming election. In the midst of the challenge, may our chalice flame bear witness to the inherent worth and dignity of every human being. In the midst of uncertainty, may our chalice be a beacon of encouragement that our values may guide our choices. Let us look first to the response of love. Halloween's fun. When you peel back, it allows us to blur the line a little bit, blow on the veil of what's real and not real. Today we talk about that. We humans like that. We like it because we're never really sure what's real and not real anyway, are we? Halloween, Dia de los Muertos, All Saints' Day, it gives us permission and the rituals to appease life's darker forces and even the scary and friendly ideas of our ancestors returning so that we can approach life in a more comfortable way, ideally. So behind plastic masks, I feel like I'm echoing up here. I'm going to shut this off. Behind plastic masks that barely hide who we are, we work to appease and tease and coax the dark forces of the very fears that live in all of our hearts. We dress up our children as ghouls or even ourselves as goblins, and then we buy everybody off with candy and apples and chewing gum. It's an older religious idea than you think. Halloween, All Souls Day, Day of the Dead, all fall at this time gives us a mock sort of control we have over the world and a chance to honor those who passed. So this service is designed to mix our playful energy with the hard stuff and draw up meaningful moments. We'll probably hear some stories of ancestors. I hope people have brought some kind of images they can bring forward, or just there's a moment to honor those who have recently been lost or those who really deeply live in your heart. So we'll have essentially kind of two joys and concerns today. So that's a lot. Let's get started with our opening hymn, which is, 96, I Cannot Think of Them as Dead. 96. That hymn reminds me of Galen Gingrich, who was the minister at All Souls in New York City, came up with a revised version of Saving God, not that anyone has to believe in God, but I loved it. It was that the universe was all of space and that God was the holder of all things that had happened through time. And I thought that was kind of a sweet sentiment. Bow our heads in preparation to honor our ancestors in a more public way, but in this moment. Autumn, we know, is a life en route to death. The asters are but harbingers of frost. The trees flaunting their colors at the sky in other times will follow where the leaves have fallen, and so shall we. Yet other lives will come, so may we know, accept, embrace the mystery of life we hold for a while. We shall not mourn that it outgrows each separate self, but rejoice that we may have our day. Lift high our colors to the sky and give in our time fresh glory to the earth. At this darkening time of year, our thoughts turn to things of past, to life retreating, to those who are no longer with us. Images come to mind of dear companions who once graced our lives, loved ones whom we miss, persons whose lives made an impact on our lives, of all those who were here contributing, caring, and are now gone. I invite this time of silence to be a time to remember those near and dear to you. We invite you to carry in that spirit in our traditional joys and concerns. So please come forward and drop a stone and share what's on your heart or mind. Draw the circle. That's pretty. Please join me in something not so pretty. The inverse of gratitude. Let us be resentful when we are asked to give, for many do not have that obligation. Please join me. Let us feel bitter when we are asked to share our gifts, for we are empowered by our privilege. And let us be reluctant to voice our needs for fear that we be admitting our frailties and in doing risk our losing our sense of superiority. Obviously, don't do that. Okay. Our half plate this month goes to the Nipmuc Indian Development Corporation, and I encourage you to give generously for the life and work of our church and their organization. I will notify Susan that we should expect a large royalty check sometime soon. I built into this service a chance, I don't know how many people got the news or will respond, but this is a chance for people to come forward. I put a picture of my mom and a picture of my great aunt among many of the pictures I could have brought from home of people who I would wish to remember. I didn't want to hog the stage, so our memories of ancestors, past loved ones, recent and longer ago, bring forth thoughts of both joy and sadness, of course. Let's not push those feelings away, for our recollections attest to the enduring importance of these friends and love and memories. I don't need to tell you that, you know that. May the brave souls that we honor today and the spirits live again in our tender thoughts and prove really that death and distance are powerless to sever the bonds that truly connect hearts that love. So, if anyone wishes to come forward and place a picture on, I put one that's a little more handicap accessible or, a little lower, and then one up here if we have extras, and just to do in Joys and Concerns style, a style to come forward, even if you didn't bring anything, and just bring up someone who's near and dear and lost to you. And it doesn't need much pretense to just remember the people you love, does it? Any format kind of works. And now for our choir anthem. Have I got a message for you? Well, altars are places that mantles are altars, right? In Asia, there's altars. We have the Day of the Dead are altars, and costumes are. So altars are what we lift up in honor, right? Costumes, in some way or another, not always, are the idea of bringing to life something, right? You wear a butterfly, or you go as a boxer, or you pretend a little bit that we are that thing, which is kind of fun, right? A ghost, a princess, a character from our favorite TV show, which sometimes we pretend what we really are. Who knows? At Halloween, we get to play with what's real and what's not as well, right? That's an important distinction that comes up around this time of year. Like, we know pumpkins are real, and we know jack-o'-lanterns are real, but they're not really alive, real scary, right? Even if they startle us that way. And it's just a great time to ask yourself what's real and what's not. I'll keep the sermon short today because of our sharing. But we get a chance at Halloween to reflect on being something different than we are. And we get a chance at church always to reflect on what we want to be. And I encourage you to think about that. So, when we dress up in a costume, it's kind of fun. You get to be your alter ego, your shadow side, whatever it is. But at Halloween, we get to really sort of ask that question about what's real, right? We try to scare one another for a moment. And almost always, that's not real. Like, it's a frightening thing. You put a gorilla mask on or whatever. But one of the things that we can do in this life, in this church, is to lift up the real stuff that's the invisible stuff. Kind of obvious. And everyone in this life and in this church and in this world, if you're looking for a job, you have a job, if you choose to accept it, to lift up the invisible good stuff. Not any more complicated than that. Get your friends through the tough stuff. Accept the task of being a good person, and putting that on as a costume is important, because we just need more goodness in the world. So, it's very simple. When you ask someone what they want to be for Halloween, you can be whatever kind of pretend thing that you want to be. But when someone asks you what you want to be in real life, I hope your answer is to tell them that you want to be someone who lifts up the good stuff and helps your friends get through the hard stuff. Simple. That's the sermon. There you go. They'll be longer and duller later in the future. I promise. Our closing hymn is number 306, Sing of Living, Sing of Dying. 306. Standing in spirit, if not in body. From the freshness of each Chris is going to blow out our chalice, or take out our chalice. And I'm going to read the words from Maria Mitchell. Maria Mitchell was an astronomer, one of the few women sort of astrophysicists early on in the 20th century, and a Unitarian Universalist as well. She says, small as is our whole system compared to the infinitude of creation, brief as is our life compared with the cycles of time, may we find in it our lives to love a place on this great spinning wheel. Go in peace. Be peace. I admire how you don't give up. Keep going. No, that was beautiful. What a nice touch, right? She's just, you're just so good. You really are. You're so good. There's such a subtlety in the way you play that. I hate that. Makes me look bad. There's a couple, just one quick announcement. The writing group has been pretty good, and we're meeting not tomorrow night, but the following night following Monday night, so the first Monday night of the month at 7 o'clock, and the theme is my morning routine from any time in your life. Just write up your morning routine and let it tell us about what it is for you. So just to put that in your head, come to the writing group. Thanks.